Hello, it is Friday, November 5th, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to my New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. I hope you enjoyed the bonus solve yesterday, the Will Short's first ever Will Short's edited crossword, as well as the Thursday. It was a double rebus day, which I'm sure for some of you watching means sort of a doubly torturous day, but I really enjoyed it. I just love rebuses. I don't know why, but I do really enjoy them. I suspect we will not be getting a rebus in today's crossword, a Friday crossword, generally a tricky but unthemed crossword, Friday and Saturday. And before we do that, let's quickly address just a couple of comments from yesterday's standard daily puzzle, the standard Thursday puzzle, not the first shorts. We have something from Caleb Albritton, who says eco-labels. And for some reason, I found eco-label overly vague. I didn't really know of it as something that is, I don't know, an official or accepted term for something, but he explains it refers to the labels on products that mean they have met some ecologically friendly standards set by an outside organization. These include Energy Star, given by the EPA in the US, BREEAM for buildings and such in the UK, and the aptly named EU Ecolabel, given by the European Commission. So there we go, Ecolabel. He points out, similarly to you on a prior rebus, I spent many minutes looking for errors when it was just the crossword, not accepting my S/C format for the rebus instead of SC. Come on, Will. Shorts. Sorry about that. That does happen. And Robert Logan adds a note on pronouncing Willamette. And I'm going to mess this up probably. He says, as they say on all the t-shirts sold there, it's Willamette, damn it. So what is that? It's Willamette? Does that part rhyme? Willamette? Maybe it's just that the A is sort of elided and makes Wilmot. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm certain I'm absolutely butchering that, and the pronunciation guide isn't helping. But that's my fault, presumably. Okay, let's move on to today's crossword puzzle. This is the Friday crossword, as I said, constructed by Joseph Greenbaum and edited, as always, by Will Shorts. Almost always, but I'm going to keep saying always. Are we ready to get started? Sure. Okay. Looking forward to a nice, straightforward solve today, hopefully. Result of a rise, perhaps. Oh, there's so many things this could be. A rise in prices or physically, geologically, a rise on landscape. I don't know. Other half could be a spouse. One's other half, one's spouse. But that's a bit speculative, so let's look at the crosses. 8 down is barricaded. Well, 9 down is to put it mildly, so that fits. So then what would barricaded be? I don't know, actually. It's frustrating. Cry from a balcony. I bet this is Oh Romeo. Romeo, oh Romeo. Or Oh Romeo, just. Don't remember. Anyway, from Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare. I suspect that's what this is referencing. And 11, big adventure through the concrete jungle. An urban something, the concrete jungle meaning a dense urban environment. An urban tour, an urban trek. I don't know. A missions concern, speaking of eco-labels, could be smog. Although this doesn't look great here, does it? Dessert order at a Mexican restaurant. Oh, what are the chances of that? I guess very high, because this has been edited by Will Shorts, of course. Churros, a repeat from yesterday's Thursday crossword, adding a little bit more evidence to my suspicion that he intentionally schedules these puzzles to sort of link up some of these relatively rarer clues sometimes when you get them back to back, day by day. So anyway, the emissions concern wouldn't be smog. Maybe it's soot. And Ciudad del something, Paraguay's largest city after Asunción. Esta, maybe, east? Life form led by Optimus Prime in the Transformers movies. You know, I've actually never seen any Transformers thing. I never saw the original cartoon or any of the new films. keep thinking toboggan, but that's obviously utterly wrong because TO is not at the beginning of the word. So I don't know. Let's move on. Barricaded sound investment in the 1980s. Sound investment in the 1980s. So we've got a question mark here, which indicates some sort of pun or wordplay. And I wonder if there is some sort of audio company or something like that. So whereas the surface reading of this would indicate sound investment meaning a safe investment or a fortunate investment, it may be the case that this is referring to something dealing with sound, something one hears, but I'm not sure. Sorry, so let's just move on for now. Ballpark figure, I was going to say estimate, but that obviously doesn't fit. Guesstimate, perhaps? Right. I've always wondered, what is the purpose of the word guesstimate when we already have estimate? Is it simply that it's rougher than an estimate? I feel as though they're often used similarly, but I suppose a guesstimate, the portmanteau of guess and estimate, must be a very rough estimate as opposed to something maybe more educated. I don't know. Oh, barricaded is shut. I see. I was looking for something more more reinforced, I suppose, than simply shut. But I suppose that is accurate. And this does look like ESTA, doesn't it, for East? So I'm going to put that in and move on. Sound investment, right, not sure. This Optimus Prime, that looks like Autobots, which I think I have. Autobot. So then that must be what the Transformers are actually called. So, and I'm certain I've heard that. So I'm pretty sure it's correct. And that makes sound investment cast. Why am I not seeing what this is? Oh, cassette something? Cassette. Sound investment in the 1980s. Cassette. I wonder, what is that? Is it a product? Is it a company name? It's probably not a company name. Here we have button for enlarging an image. That would be Zoom, though. Right? Is this Casio, perhaps? And then what would the enlarge? I don't know. I'm sort of struggling in this whole area over here. Follower of Jesus Christ. I bet it's Superstar, Jesus Christ Superstar. So often in the Times crossword, and especially when you've got the question mark, the pun indicator here, follower, instead of meaning in this case, what looks like a disciple of Jesus Christ, instead it's being a bit cute. It's saying this word is something that follows the phrase, the words, Jesus Christ. And in this case, it is the musical Jesus Christ Superstar. So we're just looking for a word that follows the phrase rather than an interpretation of the words in their sort of surface meaning. Okay, so a button for enlarging an image. So if this is either an S or an I, do either of those help? I mean, I could be wrong about Superstar, but it fits. It fits so perfectly in the allotted cells. Exaggerated, I don't know, zany or something. T-Bird alternative. So a T-Bird is a Ford Thunderbird, I think. A classic car. Let's look elsewhere. Word with wonder or designer. Wonder drug or designer drug. Protest movement launched in 2011, familiarly. Occupy, I would think. That sounds like when the Occupy movement got going. Occupy Wall Street originally, and then occupy various other things over time. Result of a rise, perhaps. One of the Balearic Islands. Is Majorca one of the Balearic Islands? I forget which ones those are. Quirky sort. An odd duck, I would think. A quirky sort of person, an odd duck. Peace slogan. Make love, not war. Yes, there we go. So it's always nice to get these incredibly long grid-spanning answers because they give you plenty of hints. Oh, here we go. Button for enlarging an image plus. I see. Plus, yes, that was not at all in the That was not at all the sort of track that my brain was running down, but makes perfect sense. A plus button often enlarges an image. So I said zoom, and often the plus indicates a zoom. So expose. Something open, pry open, perhaps. You might expose a scandal, pry it open. Let's check the crosses. Troubles and paper cut, e.g. So e.g. paper cut, for example. Don't know. I feel as though I'm not on my game today in the way that I wish I were. Blank Lonely Boys, group with the 2004 hit Heaven. I don't really know this group, but Los Lonely Boys, I think, is the name of it. I don't know their music, but I've heard of them. Like some pools, tidal pools. And thus could be and so. A monthly expense could be gas if you have to fill your car every month. Or gas heating your home, I guess, actually is more likely what a monthly expense would be. Oh, this is funny. Emissions concern is smog, which is what I thought. And we have emissions concern over here. Oh, right, not Majorca, Menorca. Yes, that's one of the Balearic Islands. That is much more correct. And I think that's what I was trying to think of, but was completely getting stuck in the sort of neural pathways up there. And then a result of a rise, perhaps, a rise to stardom, I see. Yes, a rise in popularity and success. Okay, so we've got the sort of roughly 2/5 or so in the northern part of the grid filled in. Really, really could be oh so. And a sovereign land, so to speak. Sovereign land, so to speak. So what is that, so to speak, suggesting? I'm not sure. Although, now that we have this H in here for the big adventure through the concrete jungle, I think urban hike looks plausible. And a cabbage alternative. So we have the question mark indicator, some sort of pun or wordplay. And cabbage, I don't know that this is still very commonly used, but cabbage can be a slang term for money. Also, kale actually can as well. So there's something about leafy green vegetables that I suppose makes people think of money, or at least has traditionally. But I don't know if that's necessarily what this is, because I'm not sure what the alternative means there. The reason I'm thinking it's that sense of cabbage is, again, because of that question mark there, but I'm not really sure what that is. Sovereign land, so to speak, right? And then excuses. Excuses could be outs. You have an out. This long one helpful? This isn't a trick question. Could end in it. Just seems like the sort of word that might end a phrase like, this isn't a trick question. So does that help with sovereign land, so to speak, if we put an I there? I'm not really sure. What about this? T-bird alternative. Oh, a Corvette. A Chevrolet Corvette. And that's the slangy contraction of Corvette, much like T-bird is the slightly slangy contraction of Thunderbird. That would be tough if you didn't know what a T-bird was. Blank power, nth power. That's an old standby in the crossword, I would say. Here we have Zwolf minus Elf. Is this Eine one? I'm in Berlin actually at the moment, so I really should know this if that's what this is, but I'm going to leave it for now. Airs during the holidays. Oh, airs meaning sung music. So an air, a song. There we go. Noels, Christmas carols, sung during the holidays. And a sovereign land, so to speak. Oh, so to speak. So soil, I think. When people say things like, you're in the British embassy and therefore you're on British soil, sort of the sovereign land of that country, which obviously mainly would be the mainland of that country, but you hear people use that phrase to describe sort of extraterritorial sovereign land, that sort of thing. And then that makes IOU the cabbage alternative. So it is money, but I wasn't sure what sense of money it meant. And in this case, it's an alternative to money. It's an IOU. It's a promise to repay your cabbage later. Okay, and that did have an I at the end there. So this isn't a trick question. I really mean it. This before the K will be a C or an L or a N. An N, not a problem on that cross. So don't overthink it. A message for myself very often solving these crossword puzzles. Don't overthink it. I like these big, long answers in this grid. I'm really enjoying this puzzle. It's kind of what I want out of a Friday, which is that it's giving me some challenge, but it doesn't feel sort of grossly unfair or anything like that. A paper cut, for instance. A spat? A spot? What is this? Spit? I wonder if priopen is incorrect. Let's delete it just in case, because a paper cut could be a slit. Expose. Lay open? I guess. Troubles could be ados. There's a big trouble, there's a big ado. But let's check that cross. Gender blank could be gender fluid, so that seems plausible. And then vibe could be a sense, right? There's a general vibe of light challenge in this crossword, a general vibe of it, sense of it. Chill could be veg, to vegetate. It's funny, I know we don't often think about how veg came to mean to chill, to relax, but it's from vegetate, I think, which has sort of sounds a little bit more gross when you expand it out like that. Okay, made it through, got to it maybe, or got, right, so it's wolf minus elf does, I think it is Eine, so I think my instinct was right there for one. And then made it through, got, boy, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it. Exaggerated, and the Bachelorette Network, I don't know, but with an A there, presumably it's ABC, which is one of the major American broadcast networks, the American Broadcasting Corporation. Mowgli's teacher in the Jungle Book. I don't remember. I should, but I don't. Belt wearer, perhaps? Belt wearer, perhaps. Could be a martial artist of some sort. Let's jump. I've skipped some things. Let's jump back here. Blank c'est Paris, French soccer club slogan. I don't know. It has a $100 billion line of credit with the Treasury Department. Based entirely on these crosses, I'm guessing the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which insures individual banking customers in case their banking institutions lose their money or something, they're insured by the FDIC. So $100 billion line of credit would seem plausible. So let's check the crosses here. Jimmy of high-end footwear. Jimmy Choo sounds right there to me. Certainly seen those shoes. And then blank c'est Paris, French soccer club slogan. I don't know. I just don't know. And then cousin of a firth could be a loch, Scottish term, bodies of water. And then one's calling the strikes. A union reps, maybe? Yeah, union reps. So ici c'est Paris, here it's Paris, French soccer club slogan. Okay, I'll have to look up what club that is. A pro in DC. I suspect this is a professional sports player of some ilk, but I'm going to move on for the time being. Exaggerated. Why do I not see what this is? That is really irritating. I'll keep going. Deli lunch options. Well, with this WR, it looks like wraps, doesn't it? So what kind of wrap might you have at a deli? Plenty of kinds, I suppose. Graduation class. Mid-cruise milieu. Mid-cruise milieu. So does that mean mid-cruise, in other words, a sailing cruise on the ocean, or does it mean cruise, sort of cruising for hookups or that sort of thing? I'm not really sure what this means. Where Bill and Hillary first met. Well, if this is Bill and Hillary Clinton, I think they met at Yale, maybe? But I don't see a version of that fits, so maybe not. In could mean popular. That was my example, but actually, as I said it, it looks like it actually fits. So, as in the in crowd, the popular crowd. And then lead into graphic. Topographic, as in a topographical map, perhaps. It fits with the P, so let's check the crosses. Deli lunch option, right. Mid-cruise milieu. My ruined crossword brain really wants this to be open era, which is a phrase used to refer to, I guess, the modern era of tennis with open competitions. Something I've encountered primarily through the crossword, and it fits in there, and it's ridiculous that that's what my brain wants that to be because it doesn't seem in any way relevant. Okay, automotive amenity that offers an annual Santa tracker. Automotive amenity that offers an annual Santa tracker. What on earth? Keeping current with. If you're keeping current with something, you could be up on it. Now, does that help? Oh, turkey wraps are the deli lunch option. And this, unfortunately, doesn't disprove my ridiculous open era suspicion. Acorn by another name, an oak nut, I suppose. Yeah, the nut of an oak tree, I guess. And a pro in DC, probably National. Washington Nationals, DC Nationals. It's a team, I think. Cybertruck maker, Tesla's bizarre-looking Cybertruck concept. I wonder if that ever came out or happened or whatever. Oh, this looks like OnStar. I've heard of that. That's some sort of GPS system for some brand of cars. I don't remember the brand. Graduation class, a year. And mid-cruise milieu is open sea, the open sea. Mid-cruise, you're on the water, you're on the open sea. Okay, there we go. So open was coincidentally correct, but I just wasn't in the right frame of mind for whatever reason. Okay, so let's look back at this sound investment. Boy, cassette was one of my early guesses, but I haven't made any progress since then. Sound investment, cassette maker, cassette. Boy, that is baffling. Made it through, got a net, got a set, I don't know. Exaggerated, tall. It could be exaggerated tall tale, exaggerated tail. That could be it. It's funny, this is the sort of thing where I think on an earlier day in the crossword, you'd have maybe, if it is indeed tall, which it might not be, but if it is, in an earlier and an easier day of the week, you might have a parenthetical addendum after exaggerated to help you contextualize what sense of exaggerated this is here. So it might say exaggerated parentheses tail or something. I mean, that's really not a great example. I wouldn't consider that a great clue, but just as an example of what I mean, you might get a bit more help with something like this, if indeed it is tall, because you wouldn't ordinarily you wouldn't just use the word tall as a synonym for exaggerated. It's only in particular contexts that it takes on that meaning. Anyway, a fine wool source could be alpaca. Oh, is it eins? E-I-N-S, not eine. Yeah, right. Because eine would be the indefinite article in German for a thing, whereas the number one would be eins. Okay. Right. Sorry. Okay. So that really left me in poor stead here with made it through, got past. There we go. Okay. That makes much more sense. So a cassette player would have been a sound investment in the 1980s. I see. Okay. Great. An investment in sound. Oh, so where Bill and Hillary first met, maybe it is Yale something. Yale Uni? Maybe there's some specific thing at Yale that this is. I don't know. This is taking forever. Slow? A slog. A slog. I don't consider this crossword to be a slog. Stingrays often. Don't know. And then budgeting class. econ. There's a question mark, a pun indicator. What exactly does that mean? Budgeting class. I'm not really sure. Does that help here? Sinus doc. Yes, a sinus doc, a doctor who deals with sinus and your sinus cavity, and doc being an abbreviated form of doctor suggests an abbreviation here, and indeed ENT for ear, nose, and throat specialist doctor. So stingrays often. Ragtime? Is that a music thing, stingrays? Ragtops? Maybe stingrays are a car model that is a convertible. A ragtop is a sort of slang way of referring to a convertible car with a canvas top, as opposed to the less common, I suppose, hard top convertibles. So stingrays must be a model of car that fits that description. Mowgli's teacher was Baloo, Mowgli's teacher in the Jungle Book. Oh, Yale, that would make Yale Law, where Bill and Hillary first met, right? So Yale Law School, graduate school, as opposed to undergraduate. I probably should have guessed that. Okay, budgeting class, economy? Economy class? I'm not really sure what the specific pun is. I haven't really unpacked that yet. A belt wearer, perhaps. Is that a clasp? And many start with I, abbreviation. And a sound after a sip. It could be ah, as in taking a sip. Ah, that was a nice sip. Oh, right. So if that was an H there, and you never really know if it's going to be AAH or AHH with these sorts of clues. So you have to get that with crosses generally. But anyway, many start with I. If that's an H, this could be highways. So in the United States, I stands for interstate highway. And so I suppose budgeting class is economy. I don't quite understand this one. I mean, I understand obviously that budgeting is related to economic matters, but I don't quite understand exactly how the sort of pun or wordplay is fitting in and what exactly this means. Economy. Yeah, I'm sure it's very obvious to many of you. So I'm sure one of you will tell me in the comments and I'll read it tomorrow. Okay, a belt wearer, perhaps. Oh, a champ. I see. They're wearing the sort of champion's belt, as in a boxing champion, that sort of thing. And then that would make sound after a sip. A with two H's. Yes. That was a great. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a great puzzle. I have really started to, since doing this series, and I think I've said this before on the channel, before I started doing this series, I wasn't very consciously reflective about the crossword. I didn't really think about what it was like day to day. I just sort of did it as a habit, and it was something that I enjoyed doing as a routine each day, and I liked the process of solving the crossword, but I didn't really think about what particular days were like. I didn't even know when I started doing this series, and someone informed me in the comments, that it's specifically the Sunday crossword that always has a title. None of the other ones do. I didn't know that it was always the case that Friday and Saturday are themeless, and that that Sunday to Thursday always have a theme. I didn't know that. I knew that they got harder over the course of the week, and then Sunday was roughly midweek. But there were a lot of little nuances that I just never really thought to specifically determine, and maybe that doesn't speak highly of my instincts. But in any case, I've become much more aware of all these things, obviously, since starting this series, and I think I've really learned that I very much enjoy a good solid Friday puzzle, a good solid theme list that isn't totally brutal, but gives enough resistance to have it be something that you're really going to dig into a bit and not just fly through on autopilot or on Autobot. I think this was a very good example of that by Joseph Greenbaum, and so was, I think, last week's, if I recall. So, been a good couple weeks of themeless puzzles, and it's been fun also solving those. Speaking of themeless puzzles with some challenge, solving those boss words competition puzzles. And I haven't yet solved this week's. I'll have to figure out when I'm going to be able to do that. That might have to wait actually until next week. We'll have to see. I just don't know if I'm going to have time over the next few days. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting considerably off topic here. So yes, I very much enjoyed this Friday puzzle by Joseph Greenbaum. Always enjoy these long answers. It's so satisfying when you can get one of those and fill in a huge swath of cells. Let me know how you fared with this puzzle in terms of difficulty and to the extent that you enjoyed it or didn't. Let me know. I'm curious. If you did enjoy this puzzle and this video and this series in general, please do subscribe to the channel. Then you will have easy access to these videos as they go up each day. And if you think you know someone who might enjoy them, pass it along. That's, like I've said before, word of mouth is really the only tool at my disposal to spread the word about this series. And so to the extent you can help in that regard, very much appreciated. And if you want to directly support this channel and help it continue as a sustainable enterprise, head over to my Patreon campaign at patreon.com/dailysolve, where you can get bonus solves such as that ongoing Boss Words Fall Themeless League competition I've mentioned. Those have been going up every week. Also, the monthly bonus puzzles. I've still got to solve the November monthly bonus puzzle from the New York Times. I'll find some time to do that probably in the next week or so. The weekly mini crossword speed solves. So there's all sorts of stuff up on there. And some people, depending at the level at which they contribute, get access to an exclusive mug design, a mug with a "Don't check" or "Let's check the crosses" slogan. Certainly not "Don't check the crosses." That would be a terrible idea, solving the crossword. Although sometimes I used to solve it that way when I was doing it on my own, just to sort of mix it up for a bit of challenge. Sometimes I would solve where I would have to do all of the crosses before looking at any of the downs, so I wasn't able to check myself with any. Just I don't know, just no real reason, just for variety. Anyway, you should always check the crosses though, and that's what the mug says. Some people are getting that, and also the people who are getting that are thanked at the end of these videos because I really do appreciate their support. And today, I would like to thank Jordan Larson, as well as the inestimable Hood Monster and the incomparable Shantanu Bhatia. So thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Hood Monster. Thank you, Shantanu. Your ongoing generous support is very much appreciated. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone else who's backed the Patreon campaign. And also, of course, thanks to you for watching this video. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. I hope you've been enjoying these, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow for the Saturday crossword, another themeless, the other themeless of the week, and very possibly the most difficult New York Times crossword of the week as well. So come back for that. I'm looking forward to it. And until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.